cases, people would either jump ship or they would bail out. Okay, nobody would stick around and watch what happens. Okay, normally nobody really does that. So, the stake, okay, or the price at hand. The situation at hand is what? Naturally, the employers makes the investments monetarily, meaning they would make the investments by paying in it, but the employees invest the time and the effort to allow the company to run smoothly for the lowly monthly salaries. Okay, so basically, the putting in, okay, the adding in of, let's say, profit, okay, the adding in of, let's say, whatever is valuable to you is different. To your employer, very initially, they are adding in money. Okay, so their efforts comes in terms of money, in terms of currency. However, for you, your part comes in where you would invest your time. You would invest your effort. Let's say, for example, your enthusiastic spirits to a certain extent, eventually as well. Okay? Now, the company only makes the money because of the employees. Very true. Now, why shouldn't the employees share the profits? Would anybody like to have a say at this? Why do you think, okay, employees are only entitled to receiving monthly salaries instead of the percentage of earnings the boss, the employer, is earning? What is fair and what is not fair in terms of payment? Okay, in terms of money, how is it fair and how is it not fair for either sides? Anybody want to say anything about this? Increase the cost of the company is not fair. Share the profit with low salary. Usually, I believe that's the case with technology companies here in Taiwan. Okay, the local technology companies usually, if the company is starting to do really good, they would start offering stock options. Okay, meaning they would start offering shares of the company in which you would be able to become a shareholder. Okay, but then again, normally, okay, the average concept of an employer-employee is that they would receive most of the earnings because of the, responsibilities in which they are taking. So let's say if your employer is taking about, let's say, $500,000, okay, from the company every month. It's also because he or she has to be ready to put in even more money to be responsible. In turn, if the company is not running or not turning out to be running very smoothly. Okay? The employees doesn't invest money in the company. That is a very good concept. Okay, that's the reason why. Because employees don't invest money in the company. Now, your paycheck is determined by the job and the responsibility you are taking, or for whatever field it is that you're responsible for. Now, is it always fair? Let's say, for example, you have a manager, which is probably making 2 to 3 times more than what you're making, and yet both of you are working 100%. Both of you are working extremely hard, but how come he or she, a manager, is able to receive a paycheck that is triple your monthly paycheck? Is that fair? And to what degree do you think that system is based on? Why is it that they're able to receive 3 times your salary for putting in the same amount of effort? Why? And why is it still acceptable to most people? Why are they still doing that to most people in most companies? Why? Think about that. Different job, different responsibilities, maybe more experience because they have more responsibilities. Well, perhaps. Now, the employer cares more, and they should. The employee can always walk away from a job, but the employer, in a way, is stuck. He or she has to stick around and solve all the problems. Now, the employer is always the one who pays more attention to the dirty spot on the carpet. Is that true? The employer is always the one who pays more attention to this dirty spot on the carpet. In a way, the employer always pays a whole lot more attention to the small details in which the normal employees would not. Let's say, for example, if you are closing the door very hard, the employer would notice that. They would be wondering, why are you trying to break the door, in which I would have to pay to get it fixed. Things like that, okay, so on and so forth. Now, one way to bridge the gap. Here is a very useful line for you. Okay, let's say you can say, if you're having trouble communicating with your children, you can say, I am trying to bridge the gap between my son and I. Or, the employer is trying to bridge the gap between, employee and employer. Now, one way to bridge the gap is for the employer to provide non-monetary benefits when the company is doing well, such as company trips. Now, do you think this would work? Do you think by having a company trip provided for you every year, do you think that's enough for you to work extremely hard and be extremely motivated in the company in which you're working for currently? Does it really help? I know a lot of companies have company trips, okay, and they reimbursed. Okay, what is the definition of reimbursed? Anyone? The definition of reimbursed is what? They would pay for it. Not exactly compensation. Basically, when we talk about reimbursing, we're talking about how the company would pay a partial